Hey guys, welcome back to the Shintaro Higashi Show with Peter Yu. Today we're going to talk about the benefits of teaching judo.
That's right. This was a suggestion from another suggestion from Jonathan. Thanks for the suggestion, Jonathan. So he said, "How has your technique changed after you started teaching, transitioning from asking sensei to figuring out more things on your own,
Yep.
benefits of organizing your judo thoughts, etc., etc." So I think it's very applicable to you, and so you, as a child and growing up and, competing in the circuit, you were a student in a way, but then
Uh,
you made the transition to becoming a teacher. Like, how was that experience like? Has that changed judo? Yeah.
yeah, so I learned from a very traditional, like negative reinforcement. Like, this is how you're supposed to be kind of a teacher, right?
Mm.
I'm talking about my dad here. Why you're so weak? Like, why you do it like this because we did it like this for years?
Yeah.
Is that kind of a thing? You know what I mean? And initially, I did kind of adopt this kind of a teaching style. And there was a huge disconnect that most people, I think, kind of gloss over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, do it like this. They can't figure it out. Oh, I think I do it like this. Just figure it out. Go do it. You're not doing it enough times. You'll figure it out on your own. And I've heard people say things like, "You're just not doing it hard or fast enough. It'll work if you do it hard or fast enough." And that was kind of the go-to, but people weren't getting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then people would try stuff and get hurt. And then, you know what I mean? Like, I can't close the distance for a Sotogari. Like, I learned a Sotogari.
Mm.
It just doesn't work. Right. And then having a good answer to that was
Right.
something, it was very, I had to like formulate this answer. Like, why does this person not capable of throwing this other person with this one move? You know?
Better than just, oh, you gotta just try harder or do it harder.
Yeah. And then, people tend to like package anything into one answer, right? Like, oh,
Right.
because you're being stiff armed. Oh, because you're not pulling enough. Oh,
Yeah.
there's not enough. Kazushi is like the most common thing I
Oh
hear.
man.
Yeah, it's like, shut up when you hear that. Like, what? Of course I'm trying to help
I'm
out.
kind of guilty of that too.
Yeah, everyone
But
says
then
this.
it's kind of a common mistake. But yeah, but it's not helpful. Like, what does that even mean?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then, I started questioning these things, the
Mhm.
common answers to these common questions,
Yeah.
and if I wasn't really sure of like what the answer was, like a clear answer,
Yeah.
then I started questioning myself, thinking like, do I
Mm.
really know it if I can't really, I know I could do it
Yeah.
on something.
Right.
I know I could throw most people in this room with an Osono,
Yeah.
but how am I doing it? And how can
Yeah.
I teach that and replicate that for my students? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then the answer usually was like, oh, it's because I'm a phenomenal athlete and I'm just an amazing, you know,
Yeah.
person who's been doing it long enough. I'm just stronger than everyone, more coordinated than everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just like cream of the crop in terms of like athletes in the room, you know?
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that, right? If you're in a room full of hobbyists,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's not helpful at all. What am
Right.
I going to
Because you can't
say?
have
Yeah.
you gotta become full-time athletes. You can't.
Yeah.
No
What
one
do I
can
say?
do
Like,
that.
hey,
Yeah.
man, do judo for
Yeah.
20 years. And then one day you'll be as good as me, lift weights, run, do sprints, do all this stuff. And then maybe one day you'll be sort of like me.
Yeah.
No, we need to shorten that time period into like where they can kind of have an answer for them, could diagnose each reason why those independent tasks aren't working,
Right.
and
Right.
then formulate a plan for them that they could execute in a very short amount of time to keep them interested in the sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And usually the
So
answer is combination of multiple, right? Are you attacking from winning position? Does the person know it's coming? If the person knows it's
right.
coming, right, then it's not gonna work, right? What is the
Yeah.
context? Right? How many times are you shot? Are you staggering the timing? Do you know how to execute it properly, right? So the number one thing is like people will focus so much on technique and air quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is a certain
Like the Uchikomi part.
what you call part, the not call part. If you can't do that
Yeah.
clearly, like if you can't cleanly throw someone who's cooperating,
Yeah.
then you just don't have
You can't.
you can't
Yeah.
even go anywhere from that. But
Right.
people
Right.
can do it, which you call me, not call me clearly, and then that's all they work on.
Yeah.
And then they try it in Randori, it doesn't work. They're like, it don't fucking work, right? And they go
Yeah.
back to Uchikomi and Nagakomi. But
Yeah. Yeah. You see that a lot in like
yeah,
more traditional teaching style.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the point of diminishing returns with Uchikomi and Nagakomi.
Yeah.
You do it, yeah, and you see guys who are, Olympic champions doing it still, but it's a very small part of the practice.
Right.
And you hear this crazy old adage of like 10,000 Uchikomis a day, a
Yeah.
thousand Uchikomis a day, or whatever the hell it is, right? It's
Yeah.
out of control. And people take that literally.
Uh-huh.
But you forget these guys who are the best guys in the world who are teaching your senseis, or whatever it is, and those
Yeah.
people coming from that lineage spend 7, 8 hours on the mat a day.
Right. It's full-time job. Yeah.
That's a full-time job. They have morning training, afternoon session. You know what I mean? People stay early, stay late.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the afternoon session can be 4 hours.
Right.
Morning session can be an hour, 2 hours. So not 7 hours. I exaggerated that.
Yeah.
Right? But a minimum 4 hours a day of judo.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Right.
Right? So if you're doing that 5 days a week, that's 20 hours of time on the mat.
People usually do 4 hours a week on a good week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, when I had to teach, I have to come up with shortcuts, and I have to really understand what I do. Made my judo successful.
So how did you formalize it? I think that's the word, I guess. Like you had built up this innate knowledge through experience,
Yeah.
right? Because you spent a lot of time on the mat.
Yeah.
How did you translate that into more of a systematic uh depth? So it's whatever you will, like a lesson plan almost.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think like the most important thing was like being mindful of what I was doing. You know, some of the
Yeah.
best guys in the world who do judo don't even know what they're doing. It's just all
Right.
ingrained, intuitive.
Yeah.
And then understanding that in a systematic way, breaking it down. And you know what helped really was like fielding questions in the dojo. Guys would ask questions. Hey, I go like this and I can't do it like this. Okay. So then, you know, helping them breaking them down and doing it over and over and over again kind of got me to a point where it's like any question they could kind of throw at me, I can anticipate it and I kind of
Mm,
give them a clear answer,
right.
you know, and there's metaphors that you can use that's much more intuitively easy to digest. For instance,
Yeah.
right, a right straight, like a punch,
Yeah.
or even like a looping right hook.
Well,
Does it work?
you do a lot of like
Yeah.
throwing the ball kind of thing, like a baseball.
Yeah, that, but I'm talking in
Yeah.
terms of like an attacking thing, like punching
Oh,
someone in
yeah,
the
yeah,
face. Right?
yeah.
If you want to throw a right hook and you're going to take
Mhm.
your fist and just hit him in the face, does that work?
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it does.
No,
100%, right?
yeah,
We all
yeah,
know a right straight or a right hook
yeah,
works,
yeah,
right? And then there's technique to that.
right,
Keeping it tight,
yeah.
throwing your shoulder
Switch
into
your
it,
hip, yeah, yeah,
right? How fast you're going to do it, not overextending all this stuff. Okay, so that's the bare minimum. Then it comes like, do they know it's coming?
yeah,
How far away are they?
mm,
Right? Are they
yeah,
going to turn away, or do they have any skill? Like, what is the other person's skill level?
yeah.
If you know a right hand's coming, you can get
You
away
can
with it.
dodge it, yeah,
Let's just say I have my left hand in my pocket, or if I had an amputation of my left arm, I had no left arm. And if I don't know, man, was wearing really tight jeans, skinny jeans, I couldn't pick my legs up. So the only thing I could do,
was punch
yeah,
with your right,
punch with my right hand. And I didn't
yeah,
have cauliflower ear, so there was no risk of
yeah,
grappling.
uh,
And I weighed, you know, maybe 140 pounds because I'm a lightweight. And then if you were
yeah,
to grapple me, you probably would take me down.
yeah,
And I just had one right hand, right?
yeah,
Am I going to be able to connect that right hand?
or not,
Probably not,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So it's like you look at it that way, and it's like, okay, setting your techniques up. What is the proper distance, the proper position?
yeah,
What is the proper timing? How do you stagger that timing, right? What's the best angle of attack? Like, how many different ways do you know how to do with one technique? You know,
mm-hmm.
I even get answers like questions like Taitoshi. Do you go like this with the foot, or you go like that with the foot? You know, and then once people ask that, everyone teaches it a different way, but they teach one way and they say this is the way you do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, you know, I changed my
I seen
language on
them,
that. I said,
yeah,
this is a way to do it.
right,
What about this? I saw it on YouTube. This guy points his knee downwards so there's less risk on the knee.
yeah,
That's a way to do it. And I
yep,
like it for these reasons and don't like it for these reasons.
uh-huh,
Do both and see which one you like and jab with. You know? That's the proper answer. It's most
yeah.
things are nuanced and contextual, and there's some layers to it.
So now to the meat of the question. So you've gone through these exercises of breaking down and
Yeah.
in a systematic way your judo. Has that process helped you get better at judo?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because when you're doing judo, right, there's a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of like randori amnesia. And you're just like
What's that?
scrambling around and everything's intuitive. So your body's kind of autopiloting these things, right?
Uh,
And you know when someone throws the hand over the top, you're in danger. You just feel it.
yeah,
Guy pulling
right.
my head down. I feel like I'm about to throw. So naturally you start leaning or using your head to do something,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't taught.
Mm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's like, now that I've taught that specifically, right first, right hand comes over the top, put my chin over the top. And these are the things that, this person might do to counter that. I can consciously sort of take myself through,
Hmm.
not in a way where it's like, okay, you have to go like this, you have to go like that, and see all the different ideas. It's like in my head, and I'm very in tune with how to react to each one of those little things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you kind of have a deeper sort of response rate. Well, that's the right word. Right. So it
You're
definitely helped.
more.
Yeah. I understand it more. And if I got caught, I could ask the question, okay, first of all, I shouldn't have been there in the first place. Second of all, I had the chin over the thing. And then you could ask the question, like, how did I not see that one thing coming? How often is that move? Is that a frequently done thing on the
Mhm.
circuit? Like, how often will people go for this one thing? For instance, right first, right chin over the hand, and the person switches for left ogoshi.
Mm.
Is that common? No, not even ogoshi, like a
No.
front
Yeah.
uchimata, right? It's
Yeah.
super uncommon. But this is the thing, like if I ever got caught with that, I could be like, okay, yeah,
So you're more efficient in improving your techniques or game because through introspection you're more focused.
yes,
So like although if you just kind of
uh,
do go through the whole randori exercise
uh,
like your amnesia way, yeah, you if with enough time your body will unconsciously get it and
yes,
adjust,
yeah,
but that takes a long time.
long time. And this is the thing,
But
right?
yeah,
When you're kind of in the game and doing that, and your body kind of understands it, if you're never used to a stimulus of, let's just say, right first, right kind of
yeah,
guy coming over the back, switching left front uchimata, right? If you never had that stimulus, you're gonna get caught with it every time, right? Because
right,
you don't know how to react.
yeah,
And then you could kind of think about it, and then you could, put it in the back of your head, but you really just don't know, right? But
yeah,
this is the thing. If all the other options, far side Kosoto, Sasai, Snapdown, all these different things that they may do are already ingrained, you can have your mind space focus on all the other things that are at the tail end of the bell curve,
yeah,
right? Because there's a bell curve, right? And majority
yeah,
of the stuff that people do fall in the middle of the bell curve. And if you
mm,
know that really, really well, because you can talk about it, conceptualize it,
yeah,
verbal, whatever, right? Then you can focus on the outer tail. And even if you've never seen it before, you can be ready for it. Kind of.
I
You
see.
see what I mean? So
Yeah,
like it helps you organize sort of like what priority things to look out for, you know?
right,
I don't like we kind of get into the really in-depth kind of a thing, but talking about it and having that language to be able to relay this kind of information when you're teaching somebody, because they'll ask you verbally,
yeah,
right? And you kind of have to talk it and then show it, because
yeah,
some people learn best in like a tactile kinesthetic way. Some people
yeah.
learn in an intrapersonal way, or some people will need to hear it, or some people need to read this shit,
Yeah.
you know?
Or
Thankfully, there's not a lot of strong
listen to
readers
the
in
pod.
grappling.
Ah, I'm
No
sorry
one
to
writes the
that.
books.
Yeah,
No one writes the books on this
yeah,
stuff. I saw a funny thing. It was like a wrestling thing. The guy's like, "Hey, how
yeah,
to break through a wrestling plateau and like take down concepts and
yeah.
all this stuff." And I wrote a book. I was thinking to myself, like, what grappler's
Who's
gonna
got?
buy that and read it? God bless him. Seriously, God bless him.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of his. Right? I watch his content all the time.
maybe he should start a podcast.
Yeah, but yeah,
That,
like, but everyone has a different learning
yeah.
style, and then you have to cater to that. And then when you do that, you learn yourself how to
There's
communicate
a
these things in different ways.
what you just described just reminded me of a concept in AI. It's called active learning. I mean, it's in this context of more that, oh, if your AI system is not so good at recognizing something, the algorithm will actively try to get better at those
Yeah.
things while not forgetting what it already knows. And it's like an active area of research. But in a way, we're kind of like humans are pretty good at that.
Mm.
And teaching other people is a way to force yourself to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's like a good way to, because it kind of reveals the gaps in your knowledge. And in order to explain that things to other people, you have to organize your thoughts well and then convey them well, which all helps, right?
Yeah.
So the all right, well, I guess that's any other benefits besides to your judo other than from teaching?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of benefits. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, there's validation. Huge for me.
That when people like when your students see success.
Well, you know, I spent so much time learning it.
Yeah.
Now I get to teach it to people who care
Mm.
about it, who are interested about it, who want to know more about it. And it's something
The
that I
more the
know.
emotional aspect. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's like, what am I gonna do? Just learn it and then know all the stuff and that's it? You know?
Sharing is caring, right?
Yeah, but it's like I could kind of like spread my knowledge and then see my
Yeah.
sort of judo idea of like in action through others now.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I saw Reagan do like a Sosai the other day or like a Sode as he called it. Not that I do the Sode, I don't, but like we were talking about it. I was kind of showing him the other day and he actually hit it in Randori. I was like, wow, it was just so rewarding.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know, when I go to judo gyms here, I mean, people do notice that I do judo like you teach, you know?
yeah,
It's the KBI style. I mean, I've like different influences, but KBI is
yeah,
one of the biggest
yeah.
by far.
Yeah, it's a really cool
So it's
place, man.
like,
It's a small dojo, because we're constrained by New York City real estate
yeah,
situation. You know what I mean? That's, I wish I had a massive 8,000 square foot, whatever it is, but like, that's how it is in New York City,
yeah.
and judo's
But
tough.
that kind of adds to the charm. I feel like it may not be the same with the huge space.
Yeah.
You thought about getting a new place and all,
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, many
expanding,
times.
but
Yeah. But
yeah,
got the right time. I can't
yeah,
take too much more time away from my kid,
yeah.
that's a priority. That's a life thing,
Mm,
focus on the right things, sometimes, right?
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And that, I guess teaching judo kind of helps you focus on the right thing in terms of judo too.
Yeah.
I guess that's what you're trying to say. Yeah.
No, so it's good, man. Teaching's great. And then a lot of the times, man, it's kind of like being an open micer and stand up, right?
Yeah.
You're sort of working out materials to kind of
Right.
teach yourself sometimes too. Like when I was teaching Tomonaga, I never did Tomonaga as a competitor.
Mm.
I did it just to transition out of bad position. That was it.
Yeah.
And then my Newaza was so bad, every time I did it, somebody would pass and pin me. So it was like a very rare thing. If I knew the guy
Yeah.
sucked at Newaza also and he had a dominant grip, I would just freaking flop to my back and go Tomonaga
Yeah.
and then just be like, man, well, look at us here.
Uh,
And that was the extent of that. But people
yeah.
started taking an interest and asking me about it, and I had to experiment with it and try it and learn from guys. And then I was doing it and doing it, and before I knew it, I got really, really good at Tomonaga. Now I have to
Hmm.
teach it,
Yeah.
and then it's like, how many different ways do I know Tomonaga? Was the real question, and how can I teach all these ways
Hmm.
of doing Tomonaga? And then that really concretized my understanding of that throw, and now I could hit it pretty consistent. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Nice. Yeah.
definitely helps. Definitely helps.
So, I guess the last question before we close. So you're in a unique position where your job is to teach judo. So
Yeah.
this comes naturally, but
Actually, I love it. I love watching guys do
people,
it.
yeah,
know?
people like hobbyists. First of all, the context is that they're not really in a position to teach
Yeah.
in
They
terms of the
still do it though.
context or yeah. I know, but that was my question. Like, I feel like a lot of people can benefit from teaching, but what would be the appropriate way to go about doing it as a hobbyist,
I
as
think,
a
man, if
student?
you
Should
outrank
should
someone by,
stop?
I think
Yeah,
if you outrank someone by 2 belts, then yes, you could
two
teach them.
belts. Yeah.
And not in an unsolicited, hey, you're doing it wrong way. Go like this. I do it like that. No. If they ask you
Right.
to say, think about that and get back to you, think about it, then teach it. That's the way. That's,
Right.
you know,
I think for me, it happens a lot after a randori or something,
Yeah.
and then a good student, maybe he or she was very frustrated with doing randori with me because I kept blocking it or something, or I kept hitting the person with the same throw, and they'll come and ask like, "Oh, how'd you do that? Why couldn't I do that?" And then that forced me to think about my system, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't even realize I was doing that."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It's great, man.
It's like,
Good thing. Teaching's fun.
yeah,
Grappling's fun, period, man.
no unsolicited advice.
Yeah,
Just
stop with the unsolicited advice. Dude, I one time, and I was in a room of like, I was training, and this guy who blue belt was mansplaining to me a single leg takedown, right?
to you.
Yeah. He's like,
How was his instruction?
Not good at
Could he
all.
make a DVD?
No.
No.
But it was like blowing my mind because I'm like kind of standing there like, well, you know, I'm in college, so
Did you tell him that?
I didn't tell him that, no.
Uh,
But he's like, yeah, you know,
someone-
I've been doing it for like 2 years now, and you know, my single leg's pretty good. I take down most guys with it. I was like, okay. And then he's like explaining it to me. He's like, you
you
try
handled
try
it very respectfully.
I did.
Yeah.
He was like, try it. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, bang, hit it. Nice, like perfect.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, you got to go like this with your hands or something. But he was doing it wrong. The arm that wraps around, right, generally is on bottom,
mm.
right?
Well, I didn't even know. Yeah.
No, generally on top. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See? Think about it.
Yeah.
Arm that wraps around the leg, generally on top. So they
Uh,
can't peel as easy, right? So if it's this way, it's very easy to peel. He was doing it wrong, and I'm like, kind of like, should I correct? Yeah, I was like,
be the bigger man.
Yeah. no.
All right. Well, anything we missed?
Oh, you know what? One advice:
What?
teach your non-judo people teach your non-judo friends judo,
Oh, that's tough.
like
That's tough.
verbally.
Yeah.
How do you explain judo?
Verbally.
And I've done this before, right? I said to people like, "What's judo like?"
Oh, not even at the technical level. It's
The
just like
technical-
describe.
Yeah, why do
describe
we
what
do
judo
judo?
is.
Why do you do judo? What's the
Yeah.
point of it? I mean, why do you wear those pajamas? You have a good answers to those? You're teaching people why judo is a special sport.
Right. Your elevator pitch. Yeah.
Elevator pitch for judo. What is it? Why do you do it? How do you do it? You know what I mean?
Mine sucks. I just avoid the question.
Like, you still doing that karate thing that you do? My little brother's a black belt.
It-
Like, come here, let me show you something.
My 10-year-old son is a second degree black belt in karate.
Yeah.
Can you
man.
beat him?
Yeah, can you beat him? Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Yep. Thank you guys.